Table
That's
guys.
Right.
Hey.
We'll just sit around and just babble a little bit.
Yeah, see how everybody's doing.
People will come on.
How was your trip, guys?
Oh my goodness.
She didn't. We spent too much money. That's all I can think of. but real quickly, just welcome to the round table,
That's
guys.
right.
Listen, where you come to eat at the table.
That's right.
Guys, listen. Don't forget to like and share this page, guys. Like we always say, and we'll continue to say, we're going to be the #1 podcast in Detroit.
Whoop.
At least for now.
Yes.
Because we want to go everywhere else. But at least for now, we can do this now. You know what I mean? And, but guys, listen, welcome to the round table, guys. And listen, we're here with great conversation like we always do. The first hour, we talk about business. You know, this is a time where we need to know about business, guys. And especially to, you know, I like to say this to my African Americans, black, whatever you want to call yourself, Hebrew, you know, whatever it is. Listen, guys, listen, we got to step our game up. You know, we got to step our game up even more now. And guys, listen, I want to say something so bad, but I'll say it this way.
Later.
I know I'm saying it now. I'm going to say this now.
Okay.
You know, we was looking for something, and I don't want to put all my business out there, but you know, Miss Boucher was looking for something, you know, and you know, she put out some contracts and. You know, when we look back at the board for one of the contracts that we did,
voting committee,
we don't want to put them out there, but when we went back, all we seen were faces that wasn't like us, and we were so upset because we ran neck to neck to this company, the company, you know, white company, but we was like this with them. But we're like, well, why, I mean, what's up? And then they called them on the phone
to
negotiate down
pricing.
I think they hit them for like over 100,000
a year
at that. And they called them back on the phone and said, could you take 77,000
for the year?
But you didn't call us at all.
Right.
To negotiate, to offer that.
Right.
Oh my God.
Do you directly correlate that to your race?
Yep. I would.
You too.
Because you were saying that you guys
I'm gonna tell you why. Let me tell you why. 100% I'll tell you why. Because for one, everybody on the board was white. Okay, whatever you want to think, whatever you want to think, people would tend to take their own, however you feel, or they're going to be looked at first. In this society, I definitely believe that to be true. More, our society, probably not. Our, you know, black folks over white folks. But I'm going to just say it like this, okay? I believe, based on what I saw and the videos that I saw, you get what I mean? I mean, obviously, I'm going to speak highly of myself.
Right.
Because we're in the same business. But I'm not going to tell you something that I can't come through on. So if I believe that my video quality is not going to be what you're looking for, I'm going to tell you that. I'm going to say, well, you know, just so you know, it's 720, not 1080. You get what I mean? There's a big difference. Now it's 4K, 8, 7, all those K. But my thing is, what I'm saying is that from what I looked at, and I was going to challenge them, I just said, no, that's not my ballot.
Yeah, they wanted to have a Skype talk with us.
No, I don't want to have no Skype talk. You just, it was because, and that's what world we in. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, but saying that, I'm gonna throw this out here. We're gonna get this on. Maybe people still tuning in.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I noticed that when it was another person who didn't want to let someone into their business, in their world, because she thought that she was already doing good in her world. So she didn't want to bring this other individual in to give them a piece of that world. And in saying that, I was thinking about that, and this will alarm me to say what I'm about to say now, is that why do we believe as African Americans, black people, black folk, why do we believe that we don't need help, or even sometimes our people right with us? Listen, sometimes we're like two different grade of fish. If I want to say, you have 2 types of fish. So you have these white fish. I'm just gonna be honest with you. And you have this black fish just floating. You gonna get ate up. You gonna get taken advantage of. Why? Because you think that you can do business by yourself. You always have to have. A smart man always have someone
team.
Actually behind them helping them build.
That's right.
But even on the other side, if I can borrow from you, because just like a group of people in Detroit, I remember my sister was dating one of these guys, and she got sick. She was in a whole nother state. He flew in, took her, they went into the store, he got everything he needed, didn't give this guy a dime because of whatever the relationship was, brought and took care of her. You know what I mean? But all I'm saying is, I guess, we get it. We're going to go into
But let me ask this one more question.
Let's bring it on and talk. Hold your thought. Because the first thing I want to do is I want to say, hey, guys, welcome.
That's right.
Again to Roundtable Podcast. To I know everybody weekend day has been great.
So now let's ask them, how was you guys' weekend?
Well, let's go in.
Precautious.
Okay. Okay.
All right.
Cleaning, sanitizing, going from here to there, trying to find what was left, shelves complete. Yeah. But it was just a really funny, interesting occurrence. Went to my shopping spot, and all the water was, shelves empty, except for the type of water that I drink, which is distilled water. That was full. I was like, oh,
that's good.
That was beautiful.
That's right.
So, yeah.
I drink still water
how
too.
was you guys? How was your weekend?
My weekend was pretty much the same. Was just trying to find some of the basic needs for the house. And I experienced the Myers. No water, no toilet tissue. I went to Kroger's, no water, no toilet tissue. And I finally went to like an off-brand store, like a Choice grocery store. They had some of the things they were looking for, but even if you go now, people are starting to catch on to that, and they're starting to run out.
I did too. I caught one on Jefferson. I think it's Jefferson near St. Jean.
Oh, okay.
And it shocked me.
Yeah.
They had water, they had toilet tissue, all right.
Wow.
Because the night before I went to Kroger, there was nothing there. And I went on Jefferson in the community.
That's right.
And they had water, they had toilet
That's right, because they
Where
can't
was
afford
What was the first one you went to for? You CVS?
Kroger.
Where was the Kroger at?
Southfield.
Okay, then you traveled where?
Jefferson in Detroit.
And it was everything.
Water, all that.
I'm telling you, the dollar store, I had a $2 store, Dollar Tree.
Listen.
All right.
So, listen, I'm going to say shout out. Okay, but before we introduce our guest, we'd just like to let you know Lady B is here today.
Hey.
RW3. Lovely T is here. And yours truly, Antonio. Guys, we just say welcome to the podcast. If you're already joining us. Hey, listen, I'm going to say the president of Bullshit Media would just like to let you guys know that we're now accepting financing.
Yes.
You can now finance for our services.
That's right.
At an interest rate, I think
5%.
Which is not pretty good, especially in this economy.
Yes.
As well as your credit score can be as low as 500.
Yes.
And guys, listen, we have you. Our prices are still pretty good as well. But the financing will help someone who probably don't have it up front. But
definitely.
But do have it. You get what I mean? So, and that happens. But I would like to say this one more thing is that we want to be here to help build your business. Every step of the way.
So check us out at www.bouchelmedia.com.
Say it again.
www.bouchelmedia.com.
And the producer actually can put up the lower third. You put that lower third up. But guys, I just want to again go in and say that, guys, we're here to help build your business every step of the way.
Any media needs.
Yes, right. In this competitive market, guys, we offer financing. So again, we're going to put that up on the screen, the lower third, and check us out.
That's right.
Okay, so even back on the agenda again, go ahead and do the guess. But I don't know if you forget what you said.
I haven't forgot.
What you gonna say? Okay.
Okay, when y'all want to say it. Okay, well, let's introduce. All right. Introducing our special guest, we have Shawn Fair. Shawn Fair is the CEO of Fair Consulting Group. He is a training expert and leading motivational speaker in the areas of leadership, consultative sales, vision, time mastery, coaching, and business development. But we're going to let him kind of get more in depth of what he do.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
We need to get that sound effect.
Welcome to the
round table, Shawn.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It's gonna be a little awkward for me.
I know, but that's all right. You can turn this.
I'm gonna get my side.
You can turn it as you go.
Like when you're on the dance floor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Guys, like this page.
Like it real
this
quick.
This is the Business Hour. You guys, I remember it was time you liked it. We got 2,000 views.
All right.
You know, so like this, share this.
Absolutely.
Definitely going to be informed, like we like to do so well with our guests here today.
Yes.
And go ahead and.
Oh no, we're gonna let him go ahead and tell us, you know, a little bit about what it. Yes.
Oh, y'all want me to go ahead?
Yes, go ahead. Yes, go ahead.
Your turn.
Well, as you said, I'm a motivational, I don't want to say speaker, more than a motivational teacher.
Okay.
And so when I go into organizations, my job is to uncover the blind spots in leadership. That's my way into most organizations. And then I started to uncover sales issues, strategy issues, business strategy issues, and things of that nature. But what I've found over the years is that most companies struggle because of the dysfunction with leadership. If you have great leadership in an organization, typically the organization is going to be a great organization. But if leadership is dysfunctional, which it is 90% of the time, there's going to be dysfunction within the entire organization. That's a fact. And so my job is to come in and to work with the leaders to help them understand the critical attributes that they must demonstrate on a daily basis.
That's right.
To ensure that the people that works for them follows them. That is my primary responsibility.
Okay.
And so I try to give them a different perspective of what leadership is all about. You know, I'm pretty sure we've all heard it's all about being a servant. Right. Right. And I'm not saying that you have to go and grab my coffee or donuts. That's not what I'm talking about.
That's right.
But what I'm talking about is that you are a person or a leader that you have all the resources there for your people. You're doing all of the coaching on a daily basis. You have a training program that they're going through. You're consistently expanding their capacity so that they can be successful in doing their jobs consistently over the years. That's my primary responsibility.
Wow. Okay.
So you'll go in and actually just pretty much break a company down in terms of where they are. And I mean, and break them down doesn't necessarily mean in a negative way, but more just more to show them where they are. Wow, that's and it's, can I say it's definitely needed. Because everybody wants to know where they. If you want to be successful anyway, you want to know where you are. It's a reality show that comes on. It's a cooking show, and I forget his name, Ramsey or Chef Ramsey or whatever. But he'll go into the restaurants and he will look at he will let them flow for that day. Yeah, he wouldn't say anything, but then he'll look at it. He even taste the food.
You're talking about.
Because I'm a top chef, but he builds. He can have so many. Companies that he already have built his own, and he'll go in there, he'll analyze everything and see where they are, talk to them. Don't ever give him his opinion. He just wants to see how they flow, and then after that it's his turn. So he'll go in and just tell them,
tear them down,
everything,
but not in a bad way, but
and how you can be better. He tastes if the food was just gross, he'll tell them to throw everything out at once. I mean, that's what he would do. And, but he would get some guys that would kind of be a little, who do you think you
resistant,
but they'll see that he's telling the truth after all. But then after they come to common ground or whatever, if they change the menu out, he'll redo the face of the bill. I mean, it's a real nice show. But it kind of reminds me of what I'm hearing you say in terms of, hey, just let me look and see what's going on with your business and how can I be a help. Is that what am I saying? It's not negative that someone would say, or you go to them for that service. Because I think that we all need more guidance, wisdom, and experience from someone who may know more than you.
That's
to
right.
Me, that's a very successful person.
I have a question, but I want to preface with a comment. I retired from the military 23 years. And my mom had to sign for me to, join the military at 17. So when I was young, I didn't, we had such a focus on leadership. Being young, I didn't understand, the importance of leadership until basically when I retired and I've worked in the private sector. And one piece, in the military, which I've been able to bring with me, in the military, your evaluations the more you move up the rank, I ended up retiring as like E6. So you might have like 25 people under you.
Right.
And my evals were not connected to personally Robert and what I'm doing per se. My evals were directly connected. You have 25 people. Did they grow? Did they make rank? And they measured my leadership based on so if I had 25 people and no one went from E1 to E2, I failed.
What you doing?
Right. I failed. So I said that to say, kind of speak to the importance of leadership and the importance of not only, leaders understanding what it is that I need you to do for us, the company, but the importance of making sure that I understand what it is you want personally and professionally and supporting that. Like, speak to that whole concept, how important that is.
It's really important. But the problem is that most leaders have no idea how to conform their leadership style to meet the needs of every single individual that works for them. They don't. They want people to conform to their style of leadership, and that's an issue. And so what I convey to leaders is this, is that some of us, we grew up in a single-parent home. Some of us, we grew up in a two-parent home. Some of us, we grew up under these set of values, and others grew up under these set of values. Some folks went to public school, some folks went to private school. Yeah. Some people went to church, some people didn't. Some people are spiritual, some people are not. Some people graduated high school, some people didn't. Some people have their bachelor's, some people don't. Some people have their master's, some people don't. Some folks grew up under this generation, and the other folks grew up under this generation. Some people grew up under these laws, and some folks grew up under these laws. We've all been shaped and formed differently. We don't communicate the same, we don't receive communication the same, and we don't hear the same things that come out of your mouth. And so there are 3 styles of leadership that one must demonstrate on a consistent basis to conform their style of leadership to meet the needs of an individual. And that's autocratic leadership, democratic leadership, and free reign leadership. Most people, most leaders, they have a dominant style, and that's the style that they stick with. When the fact of the matter is, if I've been with the company for 10 and 15 years, I come to work with a great attitude, I'm productive in doing my job, I work well with everyone else, autocratic leadership is probably not the dominant style that you should use for me. You should probably use more of a free reign style of leadership because I've demonstrated that you can trust me in doing my job. You should give me some level of authority to make decisions within my position as long as I continue to operate that way. If that makes sense.
So when you enter a company, like Tony was saying earlier, with the restaurant owners, they're kind of reluctant, they're defensive. Tell us more like how you are, under what circumstances are you usually brought in? Because I can imagine, like, a lot of times, like you say, leaders may have blind spots, and then they're in our sector, because I won't say finance or for-profit may be different, but with nonprofit, your board is often comprised of your friends, and so no one is there to really give you the true reflection of how things really are, and so you're blinded to, but you're blinded to your deficits. So what are usually the conditions like, and how is it that you find yourself being brought in?
Well, so there's quite a few ways. Some people search me out, they come to my website. I'm on the stage quite a bit, all over the country, Europe, Canada. And when I'm on the stage, I'm in front of 400, 500, 600, 700 people. Yeah. I'm the authority figure. So the CEOs, they migrate to me, and so therefore, they just kind of listen to me. Okay. But when I'm referred into an organization, they don't know who I am. So I don't go in trying to say to them that you're dysfunctional in the way that you operate. I listen to what they have to say, and then I process the information, and I start to formulate questions to ask them to help them come to the realization that I need them to come to without me saying, you're dysfunctional. I get them to tell me that they're dysfunctional. And that's how you deal with someone or an executive in a Fortune 500 company who's been at the top for the last 30 years, who thinks that they understand and know leadership, is that when they tell you this is the problem, you go into that meeting thinking all the way through that meeting. In other words, I have some information. Here's the question I'm going to ask them. They're going to either respond this way, or this way. I've already come up with the question I'm going to ask to those responses. And then to those responses, I've already come up with a set of questions. So I come in fully prepared for that meeting. So no matter which direction they go in, I've already determined exactly how I'm going to respond to it to get them to understand where they need to go, what direction they need to go in.
Okay.
What would you say are some of the symptoms of a company under poor or dysfunctional leadership?
A lot of times they promote folks that are not worthy of being promoted. And a lot of times it's all about productivity. I'm going to promote this person because they are productive in doing their job. But the fact of the matter is they don't have the people skills. They don't have the leadership skills. And by the way, how do you promote someone who hasn't gone through any kind of management and leadership training? That is a flaw. That is the most critical position in an organization, is the person that you're going to put above some other folks to lead them, but yet you haven't sent them through the necessary training. And by the way, one training is not enough. They need to go through at least 2 years worth of training before you put them over anybody. If you don't, there is going to be dysfunction within that team.
That's true.
That sounds like the church.
Wow.
What?
That
sounds like the church.
And that's a very good, because we're with the same organization. We actually talk about people. I said there's no, even when I think about, for example, the school system. Someone could be a great teacher in the classroom. Oh, they'll be a great administrator. But being a great leader is not necessarily congruent. Those two necessarily don't match, because I've seen some teachers that end up becoming great leaders. So there's one thing when you said, when I thought about again, just the military pieces in me, that we constantly, in terms of leadership, it was when you go from one rank to the other, there was a course you had to do, and you had to go to leadership training going from each rank. You had to sit for a couple of days, for training and transitioning from, this what leaders look like as an E4, but when you become an E5, it looks different. So all the things you learn from E1 to E4, plus this is what you need. Then we constantly have ongoing leadership training. I mean, in a militaristic way. A lot of times you can't take those extreme way we did things in military and civilians, but some of those practices, I think I always tell people something about the leadership work in the military, because we haven't had a war on our soil since the Civil War. So something is making sense in the military from a leadership perspective. If you agree with it or disagree or don't agree with, there's some things that's happening in terms of conduct and good order that makes sense in in leadership in the military. So,
but then let me ask you this. Okay, how can I say it? Okay, so I'm familiar with someone who worked at a very big, large company, and they the third vice president of that company. Okay, so and I don't. Okay, so but he doesn't just. I'm quite sure that. Okay, so what am I going to? What makes a great leader? Is it the staff that you hire? Or is because you know how to make decisions well? Because I don't think that everyone makes, and I don't think that, I don't think being consistent and making great decisions just go hand in hand. I don't believe that. I believe sometimes you can just get lucky. You can make, great decisions. Okay, that's the whole process of, one of the great process of owning a business is making the right decision at the right time, if that happens in the real world. But my thing is that, is it the leadership, the staff they put behind them, that like a president would do, and make it seem like he knows everything when he's sitting there, he's the figurehead, he's reading monologues and everything, and his team put it together. What makes you a great leader, and how can unless you jump out?
So is it the people behind? Is it the people behind the leader? You know how something they say a good husband has a good wife that's backing. I heard something like that. They say. So is it like the team that you have that's under that leadership that really, or is it I know it starts at the top.
Yeah,
always.
And leadership teams doesn't mean every company or business have a team behind them. Sometimes it's just that one person.
Yeah.
But in a corporation, if we talk about a corporation type world, is it the team as well that I'm putting together, paying them well, so that they can help me make these decisions, and I just know how to put people in leadership. In other words, to me, to become a great leader, you have to be able to lead, but you also have to be able to go back and teach people how to lead themselves. To me, that's what makes a great person. At least the characteristics are there, but not so much. What makes a great leader?
Well, you said, does a great leader, is it more of a, do they make great decisions?
Right.
Well, that's part of it. Well, part of making a great decision is bringing in the right people.
Team.
That's part of making a great decision, right? So, listen, we spend more time with the folks at work than we do it with the folks at home.
That's right.
And we very particular about who we bring into our household to meet our family. We should be just as particular about who we bring into the team. That's very important, because one person can mess up the entire chemistry on a team. All it takes is just one. The other part is that the leader has to demonstrate the right qualities. There are 5 that are critical, and I'll just talk about them quickly. Lead by example is number 1, and it's real simple. It's real simple. But most leaders don't understand what lead by example mean, or how to demonstrate that as a manager in corporate America. And it basically means, well, some people say it means that you do what you say that you're going to do, or I wouldn't ask someone to do something that I wouldn't do. That applies in certain scenarios, but that doesn't apply in all scenarios. Like my training coordinator, there are certain things I'm going to ask her to do that I'm not doing, because that's just not part of my job function. But it does mean all the time is that you do and know and you understand your own personal job, and you do that 150% as it pertains to your employees.
That's good.
They can care less about the functionality of your job. They only care about the parts of your job that directly interacts and affects them. So let me give you an example. So if I have an employee here that's been here for 2 years that's underperforming with a bad attitude, but they still here, I know they're supposed to be gone. But guess who else knows they're supposed to be gone?
My boss.
Not only your boss, but who else knows?
The other team.
The other team knows. But then when you do something wrong, I call you into a one-on-one coaching session to tell you about what it is you're doing and not doing.
Well, you didn't say nothing to so-and-so.
This person's been here for 18 months underperforming with a bad attitude. You can't be an effective leader when that situation exists. I mean, that's just one scenario under lead by example.
That's right.
Every moment that you have in leadership is a trainable opportunity. We evaluate our team members every single day, and guess what they're doing? They're evaluating us. So everything that you do, everything that you say, every decision that you make is being evaluated by these folks. And if you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then it's hypocritical for you to go and address them. If I run my meetings 5 minutes late and this person comes in 5 minutes late, if I want to address this person, how can you do that and be effective in coaching that person?
Producer, the monitor went out. I don't know if that camera went out, but the monitor did.
And it's interesting and even if you're not familiar with it, this is more like a statement, and I'm kind of asking you to speak to it. So, for example, I'm in mental health. I have 2 tracks career-wise that I do, but I used to be a school principal, and I chose to, because each person in school leadership generally has a specific certification, specific area. And generally, their preference in education would be, a core subject area, then move into leadership. Right. I decided, I was working on social studies, and I said, wow, I think it'll be more important for me to understand people if I'm going to go into leadership. So I switched and decided to get an endorsement in counseling. So I'll take over the school, and I'll be in front of individuals. And of course, when they know you're the principal, because normally the year will start June 1st or July 1st. So about time the teachers come back in the fall, they did some research. So, I would get a question, well, you've never been a quote unquote the teacher in the classroom. So, how effective can you be and understand where we're coming from. Then I'll ask the rhetoric. I say, I'm going to ask you a question. Just like when I do therapy, someone will say, well, if you've never been addicted to drugs, how can you understand my So rhetorically, I would ask the staff, I would say, one, I said, how is it that, I'll ask the ladies, I said, does anyone have a male gynecologist? And some say, and they'll give me different reasons. I said, how is it that a male gynecologist can be effective? He's not a woman. He doesn't have menstrual cycles. He doesn't have children. How can he be effective at being a gynecologist and he's not a woman? I'll get, different answers, but I'm not going to go too deep into that. But my speak to Alan Mulally. He was with Boeing, the airline industry. Then when, Ford was having all those issues, they brought Alan Mulally from an entire different industry to Ford. Ford was the only company that did not take the buyout. So my question, generally speaking, if you don't know specifically, what does it take? That's where for someone who I'm not even in this industry, but I'm able to come to this industry and provide the leadership and walk them out of the deficit and left them extremely profitable. Once he walked, what in terms of leadership, what would it take?
Those
core, and what do you think happened that enabled him to do that? Go from here to here.
Well, I think you make an interesting point. You can't be an effective leader without knowing people. Those two things they go hand in hand. And so in today's environment, it's different than it was 20, 25 years ago. Because number one, there's 4 different personality types in today's workplace. There's 4. You need all 4 to exist on your team in order to be productive. And you have to manage people's personalities because some personalities can go far left or far right, and they can be classic, difficult people to work with. You have to manage people's personalities to the middle in order for the team to be effective. That's number one. Number 2, you got 4, now 5 different generations in today's workplace. So you got the boomers, and in some cases you still have a few mentors, but not many. You got the boomers, you got the Gen Xers, you got the millennials, right? And now you got Gen Z that's coming into the workplace, all of which have grown up under a different system. The way a boomer sees authority and a Gen Xer sees authority is differently than a millennial and a Gen Z sees authority. Like for example, a millennial that's in the workplace that's from the age of 21 to 25, when they were in school, let's go back to second grade, because I went to parochial school when I was in second grade. If I got out of hand, the teacher would send me down to Nun Mary's office. And Nun Mary had a fiberglass paddle named Betsy. Wow. And I would get 3 whacks with Betsy. Then she would call my mom, who was also a school teacher. And then my mom would actually listen to what the principal or the nun had to say. Yeah. Oh, that's what he did. I'll tell you what, give it to him 3 more times, I'm on my way. Then she would take me home, and then I would get it one more time. And then after I got it again, she would put me on punishment for 2 or 3 weeks. My boys are down the street playing basketball, football, or tired. And so then when I would get off punishment, I would go down to my buddy's house, and I didn't have to ring the doorbell back in those days. I can just walk right in. Because back in those days, I was family. And whatever they was doing down in their basement, I can just join right in because I was family. But if I got a hand there, his mom would give it to me.
That's right.
Drag me down the street, tell my mom what happened, and then I would get it again. There was community discipline that was going on. Now, if you touch a kid in today's environment, the teacher's going to get fired and may go to jail. If a bus driver sees a fight that's going on the bus, it is not likely he will pull the person who's beating up the person in fear of losing his job. The kids know that. And because of that, they see authority differently than we see authority. And so management has to make an adjustment with that particular generation in the workplace, and they're expecting them to make a change. But there's nothing wrong with them. But the system that they grew up under is different. Yeah. We grew up under a pro-parent law system. They grew up under a pro-child law system. It's different. You have to understand people. You have to understand the different generations.
You're out, because I have, where, sometimes HR will say, well, your team, that make but I have 21, 22, and I have someone that's 60 in the team, the community mental health. So I have the range from, so like you said, the energy I'm getting from 20, 21, and when I hear her talk on the phone to her mom and dad, I'm like, woo. So what's going to happen in our interaction here? Like you said, making that, okay, I need to manage her. Of course you need to do your job, but I need to manage her in a way where I have this 60-year-old male, and and there's a difference between the two. So you made a very salient point. I
appreciate you acknowledging and seeing it through a lens of intergenerational dynamics, because I don't think that's looked at enough and considered enough when you're trying to, like you say, bring people and different personalities to the middle, considering what values, what morals, what norms that they have indoctrinated. So I think that's an excellent lens to look through.
I think so. Okay, so even so, okay, now in terms of this here podcast, okay, so I don't know, it'd be good things if we did have people in corporations just watching this show. But what about the small person? What about the mom and pop? And what if there's some challenges, and they know that there's some challenges? Because I don't think that you don't know. You know what I mean? If your business needs some type of guidance, I think you're always aware that whether you just come out of denial and get help, that'll be particularly on you. But my thing is, we have these mom and pop shops out here,
small businesses,
and maybe it's just them, and maybe the husband think the wife got bad skills, and maybe and vice versa. So
right,
what I'm saying is it's a real thing. What can we say to them? And what can they give you a call? Can they go on your website and join the program? Or give us those small people some hope.
Yeah, sure. They can always go to the website. I work with them.
That's good.
Here's what you have to think about. Number one, the toughest person to lead is yourself. That's number one.
Wow.
If you can't lead yourself, you can't run a business, nor can you lead anybody else. That's number one. But what I find that most small businesses struggle with, and the big businesses too, they struggle with this as well.
Finances.
More so with the small businesses. Yeah. Well, you got finances. Yeah. That's a whole nother ballgame.
Right.
But they don't have a vision. So if I ask, what is your vision?
So true.
98% of the time, I don't have one. And so a vision is a realistic and attainable and attractive snapshot of the company's future.
Yeah.
And so when you write your vision, long story short, it's going to be a page or 2 pages long. You know that you cannot be successful in building your own business without having other people involved in some way, shape, form, or fashion. And if you haven't written a vision in a way that other people that you need to help you don't see themselves in it, you're probably not going to be very successful in your business.
Wow.
And so once you actually write the vision, then you have to have goals underneath it. There has to be the objectives underneath the goals, and then there has to be a mission that's underneath that. So let me just give you an example. So I'll use the Detroit Lions, probably a bad example, but we're gonna just flow with it. But at the beginning of the season, their vision typically is to win the Super Bowl. Just the big picture. That's their vision. And so, each NFL team, they have these coaches. They look at other teams during the off season. They try to determine what moves they made. And so now, how many games do I need to win in order to get in the playoffs based off of what I see in my division? Those coaches' job is to go back to the front office and say, you know what? If we win 10 games, this will ensure that we get into the playoffs. Those are the goals. Then they have these other coaches, right? They have the offensive coordinators, the defensive coordinators. They have the fitness and conditioning coaches. And during the offseason, most players, they take about a month down. And then they start to do some conditioning to get ready for their 6 weeks training camp. They're doing 10-mile bike rides every single day, 10-mile runs uphill. Some guys are doing 80-mile bike rides in one session 3-4 times a week. And then they have their training camp. And in training camp, Typically, they start their mornings right around 8 o'clock a.m. in a nice hotel in Florida, where the case may be. And from 8 to 12, they're learning all the plays in the playbook. From 12 to 1, they have lunch. From 1 to 2, they let their food digest. From 2 to 5, they're outside in the hot sun executing the plays they learned that morning. Then from 5 o'clock to 6 o'clock, they have dinner. From 6 to 7, let their food digest. And from 7 to I think 9 o'clock or so, they have conditioning. And then from 9 to 10:30, they have weightlifting. And then they got about an hour just to do what they want. And then they have to go to bed. And they do that every single day for 6 weeks. Those are the objectives. Those are all the things that are necessary to win the 10 games, which are the goals. Right. Now, if you caught that, most folks don't like doing that. Most players don't like doing all that stuff. That's hard work, those objectives. Those are the tedious things that you have to do. Right. And that's why you have to have a strong mission statement. The mission statement is the very thing that motivates you and inspires you to get up every single day to do the objectives. So when a company doesn't have a vision to start with, and then they don't have goals that are lined up with the vision, and there's no objectives lined up with the goals, and there's not a mission to inspire you to do all of the necessary things for the company to be successful, they'll never win.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I want to, it's something that, like Tony mentioned, and maybe you can speak to this as well. Because, you know, Tony, he mentioned, like, you know, unless people are in denial, they know that there's dysfunction or they need something, but they're in denial. And generally, I don't think people always know that they need. I went to some business in the restaurants and exchange and with customers with the employees and management. And by mind, they can't, they have to know this doesn't make sense. I mean, how you're speaking and how you're interacting with the public. But I don't think people always know until their bottom line, there's accountability with their hemorrhaging from, you know, on the bottom line. So, because when people do certain things, I don't think they always know that that's dysfunction because there's no repercussion from the decisions that they're making. Do you believe that they know or they're in denial? Or
can I add a little bit to what you're saying? It's kind of, to me, it reminds me of like What's Happening. Y'all remember? Was it What's Happening with Shirley?
Yes.
Yeah.
So when you think about the restaurant, like Shirley had the attitude. It was, you know what I mean? Like it would typically be an employee you would fire, but she was like this figure of what's the word I'm looking for?
Defiance.
But everybody loved her.
Arrogant.
You know what I'm saying? So you
No.
know, sometimes you have those employees in real life that you know are dysfunctional, but they're like,
difficult. Is it difficult?
So and so. You know what I'm saying? That's how they are. That's Mama Jean. She gonna cuss you out, but she gonna fix you a plate. You know what I mean? Like you have those people.
Right.
So are they coachable? I guess is the added question to your statement.
Well, if you're not coachable, you're in trouble at the end of the day. And some people, there's a couple different scenarios. Some folks are dysfunctional in the way that they operate, and they still see success.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of them, right? But here's the thing. That success is only going to be for a season. Sooner or later, the season is going to change. Yeah. But because what they've done for a long time was working, and even though the trends are starting to go downwards, in their minds, I'm going to continue to do the same old thing, and sooner or later, it'll come back up. That's a psychological flaw that particular business owner, that's what they have. And so what happens is they fall into what we call the dead zone, is what I call it. At this point, they have no interest in improving. They take no initiative to get better. They don't see things that make them change. Typically, there are people to whom all things happen. In other words, they always have an excuse. They at work, they stop working because they don't see the success. Right? They reside to things as they were and not where they are. They're using the old processes when they should be using new processes, and they have a lack of interest in the future. Most companies in that situation are 3 to 4 business years behind the business curve. And so if you operate in the rear, sooner or later, it's going to catch up with you. And once it catches up with you, it's hard to make that turn at that point.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Well, guys, I would just like to add, maybe there's someone out there, social media, you want to improve. I mean, let's face it, you know that the money's not coming in like you. And maybe that could be because of lack of vision, you know. Maybe this money's not coming in. Maybe you know that you're making wrong decisions and you know it should be right. But you just, you know, some of us in denial, which know they shouldn't be in denial. It's just the whole thing there. But maybe that's you. I mean, you know, guys, listen, there's nothing wrong with getting help, seeking help, learning. There's nothing wrong with educating yourself about your business, because after all, it's your business, right? You know, there's so many, and let me say it like this: no business is what I can consider to be perfect. You know, there's many people who's lost their business, walked away from their business, and jumped back right on and became successful. But you know, sometimes that could be experience as well. You know, so what am I saying to you? You know, maybe you need. What is the website? Do we have information to put the website up?
Yeah. Oh well, Jasmine put it up.
Okay,
the producer.
I want you to, I want you to say that. How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, it is Fair Consulting Group, like the state fair. Or you can always just reach out the old-fashioned way and just call us 586-690-1879.
That's good.
Do you have online classes, like if one wanted to improve their leadership skills?
We do online classes. We do conference calls. We do a lot of Skype calls. And, you know, what we try to do, especially for individuals, is to have a one-on-one session with them first, whether it's over the phone or in person or over Skype, and start to ask questions to help them analyze their situation. Not us analyze it. We want them to analyze it, but we ask them the questions for them to do that.
Wow.
You know, and that's important. And I can say, one of the biggest issues out there today with businesses in general is that they're not marketing to the millennial generation. It's a different generation. They're 30% of today's workforce.
That's right.
They'll be 50% by the end of this year.
So right.
They'll be 70% by 2025. And if you're not marketing to that generation, you'll be out of business in the next 15 years.
That's right.
You have to have, no matter what service you're offering, you have to have a technical delivery system. Your service doesn't have to be technical. Your product doesn't have to be technical. But your delivery system, it has to be technical. That's right. That's one of the biggest mistakes that companies are making right now.
And let me question. And also, we've been primarily focusing on the leadership. And before we got here, I kind of looked at the site. But you do a whole bunch of other things: marketing, PR, event planning and management, time mastery. Oh my, we can have a whole session about time. Video and editing, vision building, or become a certified facilitator. So if you can speak to all some, just to kind of expand, because we just spoke about your leadership piece, but there are other things that your consulting group offers.
Well, I'll talk about one of the big things that we're doing now. I have something called the Leadership Experience Tour. And we have an event on, right now, May 2nd and May 30th. It's at the Michigan State University Conference Center in Troy. And what we do is we audition people that want to speak on the big stage. So you want to try to elevate their speaking career. It doesn't matter where you are. We have an audition this Saturday at the newly renovated Boys and Girls Club, which is on 16500 Tireman. That's Detroit. It's at 10 o'clock a.m. It'll go from 10 to about 1 o'clock p.m. You come in, you do your audition. We're going to evaluate you, give you a little feedback. And if we think that you're a good fit, then you'll be a part of our October show.
Oh, wow.
So once we choose you
for motivation, being a
motivational speaker, motivational trainer, motivational teacher, right? It's all about leadership, and leadership is broad. You can talk about getting through a particular situation in life and how did you do it, or you can talk about leading people in corporations. Doesn't matter.
That's right.
But we just 20 speakers per show.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, do you guys do you air that live sometime, or just come there and show up?
We do live streaming as well as purchasing a ticket to come in person.
See, now, so even if you couldn't make it out, what you wanted to come out, you can go online and visit as well.
And right now with everything going on, I have to say, with COVID.
Yeah, 19.
Is it COVID-19?
Yes.
Is there a possibility it might get rescheduled at this point, or you're still holding firm with that date?
We're going to hold firm with it right now. So, we were going to a smaller venue initially, but we decided to go to the Boys and Girls Club because they have a huge open area.
Okay.
And each seat is going to be about 10 feet apart.
Okay.
We're only going to host 30 in one segment.
Okay.
So there'll be plenty of space. We're gonna have sanitizers there, and they're getting it all ready for us for next week. So we don't plan on canceling that unless something drastic happens.
And that's good to know, because I'm sure people who are interested want to know what measures are being taken.
Most definitely.
For that. So that's good to know.
If you guys even have something like a promo, if you guys send it over to us, we'll run it even during our podcast, because we can we'll go live. We can just put the video up and play it.
Absolutely.
You know, anything. So let us know. But guys, listen, Natasha, go ahead.
All right. Well, we want to thank our guest, Shawn Fair, CEO of Fair Consulting Group, for coming along and sharing with our audience. We thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
That's right. That's right.
All right.
So, guys, definitely check out the organization. We're going to put the website. I think we'll get the information from him again, so we can just put it on the lower third. And some of these things I want to play just throughout the website, because we need more speakers, motivational. We need a whole lot. Les Brown was. You know, everybody go back to Les Brown. That's I know you know that. But Les Brown, that was my guy at that time, and I would listen to this guy and just be fascinated by him, about how he speaks, how he bring it home, just I mean, just the whole 9 yards. And that was my guy right there. And I think he's also from Detroit as well. Les Brown, if anybody know that.
He's with Gladys Knight back in the day.
I
want to ask, before we close out, because you differentiated early, and I want everyone to hear this part. You said you honed in on what's the difference between the speaking or motivational speaking or teaching? Because you mentioned teaching.
Right.
And, and I want you to kind of speak just a little before we close out.
Yeah.
Okay. A motivational speaker makes you feel good. And then you hear it, and then you walk out, and you don't know why you felt good.
Wow.
That's what a motivational speaker does. But a motivational teacher is educating you on a particular topic. And so my job is to give you the knowledge, but then motivate you to act on the knowledge.
Okay.
That's the difference.
Okay.
Because sometimes you can go to a training and you'll get some great information, but you don't
know
do
how to
anything
apply
with it. Right.
Yeah.
So if you deliver it in a way where people say,
they act on
this
it.
is critical for me to act on this. In other words, I've helped them identify that if they don't make a change, that they're not going to see the growth that they're looking for, then it kind of defeats the
So it sounds like a coach.
Yeah.
You have a coach, a motivational coach, someone there to support you and get you through what you need.
Yeah.
But guys, listen,
Awesome.
we have to call it out. We thank you all guys for watching.
Thank you,
Please like and
guys.
share this.
Yes.
I want this to move out more and more. And I think I'm going to promote this page right here. Because I think that we more of our people and whoever else need to hear this, especially if it's here for you. All you need to do is, a lot of times we just need to reach out. We'll spend money in every other areas.
That's right.
On some stuff that we don't need to spend money on. You know what I mean? And so you can take that money and put it in an area, especially if it's going to help grow you.
That's right,
guys. So just listen. We like to be safe, stay blessed.
Yes.
And we'll see you next time on the round.
See you later.
Stay tuned.
Have a
So quick question. Can my guy take a quick picture of us real quick?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We want to get some pictures, too. We need our producer to come take some pictures, too.
Where you want to be at when you take
You
the
want
picture?
to be in here?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Especially with the round table in the backdrop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that.
We can do